are here again in Michi-no-eki Doshi, which is, they call it the road station. Doshi is the place in Yamanashi, Japan, and hopefully you can hear me above the sound of the bikes. It's about 9:45 in the morning and nice weather at the moment. Very hot actually, too hot really for rider wear. But there's a Kawasaki 1000 Ninja 1000 SX just going away there, and that's interesting. I was actually parked next to that. This is my new bike here, which is Suzuki GSX-S 1000F, and top of my list was actually the Kawasaki Ninja 1000 SX. However, it was about 50% more expensive for the Kawasaki, so I looked for alternatives, and I chose this one, which is fantastic by the way, and I'm going to do a full review and talk about that another time. Anyway, there's a typhoon down in the south of Japan, so I suppose people are and it's affecting the weather. We've got rain this afternoon and all day tomorrow and maybe the day after, so I think the weekend riders are out and trying to get in as much riding as possible on this Saturday morning. I have to say I like this one. This is beautiful. This is an MV Agusta F4. What an absolutely beautiful design that is. Love that headlamp on the front, and just overall what an absolutely beautiful bike. Don't know whether that's real carbon fibre or mock carbon. Being an MV Agusta, it's probably real. Just beautiful exhaust pipes coming up there around the back. Absolutely fantastic, really love it. Haven't heard it yet, it was already parked here when I arrived. So not that many bikes, about half the bikes have gone since I've arrived. What have we got here? Another MV Agusta. Well, don't see many, and we got two in a row. I'm not really very familiar with these bikes, but again, love the exhaust pipes on this one. Very nice. Beautiful bike that. Very different style, but still very nice all the same. What do you got? Honda NC 750X, very popular bike, rather bland and dare I say could be a bit boring, but very sensible bike apparently. So let's have a look what we got over here. Nice traditional looking Kawasaki. I do like Kawasaki's, I have to say. Never owned one. BMW with an Akrapovic exhaust. I mentioned those before, they're all the rage, aren't they? Not quite sure what model it is. All I can see is RR on it. I don't know what model that is. Also some of this carbon, is that mock or real carbon fibre? I don't know. CB 1300, yeah, I mean Hondas are certainly still have a good reputation, although I think these days the other four main manufacturers in Japan have basically reached some sort of parity with Honda. Some say it's because Honda has actually lost its edge in quality and refinement, but that's quite an impressive setup that. I'm quite impressed with that, and you've got this glass window on the end of the crankcase there. Was that the alternator cover? It's a crankcase, isn't it? And quite a tall engine, that, quite interesting. Some extra suspension wells there, Showa shock there. I will say he's got a nitrous oxide tank on that, So I bet this one is a bit of a beast. Hadn't noticed that. Gosh, I'd like to see that thing in action, I have to say. There, I'll just zoom in on that again. A nitrous oxide tank. Absolutely fascinating. These lovely little gimmicks. Not really a gimmick, is it? What shall I say? These tricks that these bikes can do. Another BMW. This is an R1200 RS. Popular touring bikes. What do we got over here? We've got Kawasaki. It must be a Vulcan, or is it? No, Eliminator Vulcan. V Classic, it says 1500. As I've said before, these bikes, they look nice, they're beautiful. I don't think they're really suited to Japanese roads, and certainly not in this area where it's all about mountain twisties. I don't think really I would want to ride a bike like that on mountain twisties, and certainly not in city traffic, because in Japan, certainly in this area, in fact most of Japan, you've either got heavy city traffic on tight little roads in the cities, or you've got mountain twisties. There's not really a lot in between in this part of the world. Up in the north, in Hokkaido, you've got a nice open roads, but a lot of Japan is not really suited to this kind of bike. But it is beautiful, I have to say. I love that. It's never owned such an American cruiser type of bike, because I'm from Britain, where it's also not very conducive to owning such a bike. And as I said, Japan's not really the best place. Another NC750X, another one there. Yeah, I had a look at one of these. I wasn't that. I've never ridden one. By the way, you can't test ride bikes in Japan. It's really annoying. So when I picked up my new bike, the day before yesterday, I picked up my new bike. I'm running it in at the moment. A bit frustrating. Have to take it slow, take it easy. But when I picked up my new bike, I had 0 miles or kilometers in Japan. 0 kilometers on the clock. What's this one? Inazuma. I think I've seen this before. Not sure what it is. A lot of course, a lot of Japanese bikes are very standard. They all look quite similar. But not quite sure what it is. Got a shock reservoir on that. Bike next to it also got a shock. I mean, these Öhlins suspension systems are really popular. It's like Akrapovic exhausts. I mean, they're all the rage. So are the Öhlins. I mean, Showa's obviously popular, being a Japanese company, but Öhlins are very popular as well. What have we got here? An R1. So that's a Yamaha, isn't it? R1, of course. Quite low. One thing I noticed is my bike is the first time I've owned a sports bike. It's not a full-on sports bike, but it's classified. Suzuki called it a sports bike, and it's I don't know what this is. Somebody's dropped some green stuff. I don't know what that is. VMAX, love the VMAX. I mentioned before in the video that the VMAX is definitely one of my favourite ever bikes, and I think it should rightly go down in history as an absolute legend. This one's got some mods on it. Look, this engine brace, this, well, I suppose it's for stiffening the chassis, because the chassis on these are known to be rather flimsy, which retrospectively the designers claim is deliberate. I don't buy that. Of course, the VMAX is famous for having these fake air intakes, which are actually inspired by aircraft design, because the guy, I think the guy in charge of the original VMAX project, he said he was an aircraft enthusiast, and as a kid he just loved military fighter jets, and that's as I've mentioned before, I'm not keen on the radiators on the front, but this one, it looks alright. I think it's quite a nice style. I'm not sure if that's, again, is that real carbon fibre, fake carbon fibre. That's I didn't imagine carbon fibre on a radiator, but that's That's a nice one. I reckon that's an expensive radiator, that. This could be, I'm not sure if this is import or Japanese model, because the imports are popular in Japan because they're unrestricted if you get them, especially the Canadian VMAXs are the most sought after in Japan because they are the most powerful and least restricted, followed by the US models. But when I was looking at VMAXs, this fender here, this sort of protection thing, supposedly the Japanese models have that as standard, although this looks like an after modification, an after accessory or whatever. Right, let's have a look. What else have we got? I have to be careful. I know I certainly don't like people filming me, especially my face. Couple of scooters. These big scooters are really popular in Japan. I can't stress enough how popular they are. They really get customized, and not for me. I'd never own one, never ride one, but I have to say they're quite impressive. Very bling, if that's still a word. But look at that. I mean, look at these metal hoses on here. Very impressive. Well, I suppose they're hoses and cable covers. Very interesting. See a couple there, biker couple there. You do get couples out riding bikes together in Japan. I think that's great. I'd like to see more of that. Not something I ever saw back in Britain. Yeah, very interesting. What we got here? GSXR. GSXR. CB1300, another one, totally different to the one over there I was looking at before. No nitrous on this one, I think. But hang on, let's have a look around this side. Well, that's Yoshimura exhaust. They're very popular, they're expensive, and that's always a selling point when I see used bikes, if it's got a Yoshimura exhaust. Showa, so he's gone for the Japanese mods with the Showa shock reservoirs, and yeah, certainly a tall engine, as I mentioned before. Big wide radiator on there, just lets it down in my opinion. Twin horns by the look of it. I guess he gets horny. Right, what we got here? Honda 400X. Again, I don't know what it's obviously got should have some letters before it, shouldn't it? Was it a CB? It's not a CB, is it? Sorry, don't know what that is, but I'm sure anybody watching this, I'm sure there are people who know what that is. Just let us know in the comments. Some sort of Suzuki, is it a Bandit? I don't know. Gladius. Got ABS, this one. Doesn't look like a bike that would have ABS. Just pretty box standard, nothing special. I don't know though, the front end looks quite modern. It's not. I don't know whether that's been modded or whether that's that came like that. And that sort of cowling around the radiator, maybe you can see that. Another BMW. BMWs are certainly sort of foreign, but as in non-Japanese bikes in Japan, BMWs are certainly popular. I used to own a BMW, by the way. I owned a BMW R1150 RT, F900 XR. Don't know much about this bike. There we are. Looks like a full digital dash and display and all that, and some sort of possibly additional navigation or something on there. Kawasaki 1100, very traditional looking bike. Looks like it's got he's had a swing arm replaced on this. That's obviously not original. It's quite new looking. Again, some shock reservoirs. The adjustable rear suspension. What we got here, carbon silencer. Over. Oh yeah, well, Over's another really really fashionable and popular exhaust manufacturer. See a lot of Over exhaust, and again, it's a selling point in Japan. If your used bike has an Over exhaust, they always make a point of telling you that. I really like the old retro cowling. This sort of 80s style cowling around the squarish rectangular headlamp. That's interesting. Right, okay, as I said before, it's actually quite early, so that's probably why there aren't that many bikes here at the moment. And also I think people are trying to get their riding in this morning, because most people are fair weather riders, weekend riders, fair weather riders, and they just simply don't want to get caught in the rain that's forecast for this afternoon. This time of year can really be horrific tropical squalls that really make life miserable, especially if you're riding on a bike. This has been heavily modified as well. This Ninja, what is it? GPZ. Yeah, I remember the GPZ is a bike from my youth. That it was a bike that we lusted after when I was a teenager in high school. And I remember it was the GPZ 900, which is also, I think, known as the ZX9 Ninja. But of course, this one doesn't have the fairing on it. I'm fairly sure it should have fairing on it if it's a real GPZ Ninja. It's a bit of a, well, it's oldish, and it's had some modifications done to it, and it's got missing fairing, I would say. Well, it's got an oil, so this is liquid cooled and oil cooled. Active special parts, I suppose Active, not quite sure, I don't know what Active specialise in, but it's some sort of chassis stiffening bar there. Let me know if you know what that is. So yeah, I certainly like the top fairing, this cowling on these old Kawasaki's. Nice that. MT-03, these I think these are great if you've got a medium license. That's up to 400, in Japan it's up to 400cc for a medium license. Then I think bikes like this are certainly popular. Scorpion, yeah, that's another exhaust firm that's popular. Scorpion exhaust. The MT series certainly has really done well. Yamaha's done well with the MT series. Nice old. That's quite interesting. I think that's Cross Club. Yeah, that's quite an interesting one. I think that, I'm not sure what the engines are. 110 maybe. Not sure. Don't know much about this one, but this is a newish looking machine, very budget. But these bikes like this get a real cult following. I mean, they are really popular. So it's a CC 110. So it must be 110cc. I'm assuming. I think the CC actually stands for Cross Cub. And what it is, I remember now. It's coming back to me now. I did look into this before. It's look at that top box. Oh, that top box is really quite big for a little machine like this. But they really load them up. It's quite amazing how they load these machines up, and you get them go out. They've got this massive following. They have these clubs, and they go ride outs, and they go camping together, and they've got a real sense of camaraderie, these guys who ride these things. It's quite impressive. They're obviously not into speed. They've got something else about their interest that is not about zooming around on the twisties. It's just a leisurely activity for them, but it's something else that I can't quite put my finger on it, and don't really understand, to be honest. It doesn't appeal to me, but what it is, they've taken the old typical sort of Honda moped, and they've given it a sort of pseudo scrambler image with this machine. I remember now, I did look into this. But anyway, if you're into this sort of thing, I think that's quite impressive if you're into it. You know, it's horses for courses. It's each to their own, you know. Right, what we got over here? It's a nice GSXR. Nice and sporty. Top-Yuko brakes on that. Very nice. What's this Yamaha? Can't tell what it is, but twin over exhausts slung under the seat. I have to say I've got a penchant for twin exhausts under the seat. I have to say I do like that. I do get turned on by a nice tail end. Definitely. And not sure about this carbon look stuff here. Not sure about that. I doubt that's real. So it's an R1. You can see that now. Look at the size of those wavy front discs. Quite unbelievable. Don't know what. I don't know how new this is. I don't know what generation this is. But anyway, yeah. NC750, the NC750S, again it's another NC750. Right, well, I think that'll do me now. Not many bikes here, as I said, but I shall be getting back on mine. I'm running it in, and I shall be making a video about my bike. And if you've got a GSXS 1000, especially if it's an F like mine, but I mean if you haven't got the fared version, please shout out, because I'd like to compare notes on it. So this has been just in Japan. Catch you later.